Hey y'all, what's up? It's me, Miss Ruby. Welcome back to my channel if you've been here before, and welcome for the first time. I'm not going to take up too much of your time because you're probably a mother or a wife or both, and I know we busy. That's actually why I haven't been here much. For those of you guys who are subscribed to me, is because I'm busy. And the very subject matter of this video is just one of the many things that has been keeping me busy. So busy that I haven't been, available so much to make content. I really want to get back to it though. So if you guys can bear with me with this vertical video, 10 o'clock at night, just dropping some gems that I hope could be of use to you, then I might be able to do this again consistently. Y'all let me know how it goes, okay? So in this video, I want to talk to you guys about gentle parenting, a hack. It's not so much of a hack as it is a mindset shift. And we may be being joined by my 1-year-old who is up past 10 o'clock. Yes. I can talk to you guys about that better. Why? In a different video, maybe. Because I don't want to take up too much of your time. Where's your table? 1 second. More on that later. But anyway, so the gentle parenting mindset shift that I have recently gone through has been just very simply learning to put myself in my children's shoes. And I know that seems pretty straightforward, but if you can listen on just for a few more minutes, I want to really drive this point home to help you understand what I mean. Because if you're struggling with gentle parenting, if you know something that you're thinking about doing, but you think it's kind of like weird, let me let y'all know. I'm gonna give you a little backstory just so you can understand the point. So basically, when I first began being a parent, I had no expectation or preference toward gentle parenting. I didn't even really know what that was prior to a couple years ago. I was really big on like kids need discipline, kids need structure, period, point blank. My kids are not about to be running around Walmart or Target acting a fool. They're going to get their butts whooped and I'm going to love them, but they will fear me and they will know who's boss, right? That's the way that I was raised and that's the way I expected to raise my children. I started to recognize along my journey of being a mother, everybody's not like me, but that it felt to me odd. It felt to me, not just odd, it just didn't sit right with me when I would like spank my first daughter, not the 1-year-old. My first daughter, she's 4 now. Spank her, discipline her, be really harsh to her. The way that I even sleep trained her was very like strict sleep training. You're going to go in the room by yourself. You're going to cry it out and you're going to learn to be strong, independent without needing to, depend on mommy for every little thing. I was very hard up with her and it didn't even yield me the results that I was looking for. I started to realize that my child was scared of me. I started to realize that my child was still acting out in public despite everything that I did. I started to feel like I had to spank her harder and harder to get her to listen to me. And at the end of everything, I felt bad as a parent. Like it felt like I was taking my anger out on her and I wasn't really living the way that I wanted to live. I would be being the best version of me until she triggered me to a point where I just lost control. And the reason why the mindset shift happened to occur for me is because, oh, gone. All right, good job, baby. But you still have some left. You sure you don't want some more?
No.
Okay.
More apple.
You want a different apple?
Mm-hmm.
No, honey. I know.
Mama,
1 second. And whenever something doesn't sit right with me, I always have to like check myself. I go into prayer. I am a believer. So I'm praying about it. And I've also been like, paralleling my journey as a parent with my journey as an individual. I have been on a serious journey of just learning, God's love on a deeper level. And when I study the love of God, what love actually is, the first thing that love is patient. And the second thing is kind. And I also learning about the fruits of the spirit, which is, things that we get to benefit from when we are in tune with God. And it is self-control is one of them, right? So thinking about all these things in my mind, like all this wisdom that God has given me, I'm like, so I'm not really practicing self-control. I'm not really leading with patience or kindness. And that's just 2 of the many flaws that I started to see in my approach. And like I said, this is just for me. So I started to think about that and I started to realize like, well, maybe if I treat my children like human beings, look at things from their perspective, I might be able to come up with an alternative approach to a lot of these issues. And ultimately, not only will I be able to parent them and lead them with love, but hopefully I will be able to inspire them down the line to make the right decisions, not based on their fear of me, not based on the fear of getting a spanking or losing out on something, but based on just realizing themselves that it's the right thing to do. It's the best thing to do for them. And the reason why that became so appealing to me is because I look around at the world that we live in and how so many people need therapy, number one. And a lot of us are not getting the therapy that we need. So many people need a hug, need a friend, need love, need real love. But what we're dishing out on a consistent basis, more than all of those things, which require patience and kindness and self-control, instead we are dishing out intense, severe consequence. We are dishing out a lot of hate. We're dishing out a lot of impatience. And I think that it is causing so many of us to continue on this cycle of being broken. And when I look at our history, especially as Black people in this country, we have learned a tough love that is very difficult for us to break. Thinking about all these things, I was like, you know what? Let me just practice putting myself in their shoes and think. And the reason why this is super important, the most important point to take from this video is I like to think of myself as someone who will make the right decision if I recognize that it is the best and it is the right decision. You don't have to punch me in my face for me to do something right. But I would love it if you would explain it to me. That's just me. And I believe that my children, they're my seeds, so they're probably very similar to me. Now, some people, y'all may frown on this and be like, you don't need to explain yourself to a child. Maybe your child doesn't need an explanation. But I know for me, I would have made a lot better decisions as a child if someone explained things to me. And actually, in practice, I did. Certain people that took their time to explain things to me were the people that helped me to make better decisions than I was making. So I think about that with my kids, and I'm like, you know what? Maybe if I explain this to them in a way that helps them to recognize the opportunity to have the best outcome for them. Maybe if I look at them as human beings and recognize that, you know, these are little grown-ups that I'm raising. One day they're going to be grown adults. And if the only thing that they can recognize as a stimuli for making a good decision is pain, physical abuse pain, pain from, you know, all their consequences being, you know, these painful outcomes that were issued to them by someone in a position of authority in their life, then why would they choose to make it the right decision, you know, without that? It's almost like they're going to be expecting it. And I feel like when I really think about that deeply, I'm like, maybe that's why a lot of these little kids go to school and inadvertently start trouble with other kids. They're expecting fights on a daily basis. So that conversation can go deep, but I was like, you know what, let me try it. And I started to, you know, recognize opportunities to be like, you know what, she's acting out right now. But instead of me being like, okay, you do it again and I'm giving you a spanking, I'm like, you know what is causing you to act that way right now? Those kind of questions lead me to opportunities to really get into my child's head. My 4-year-old, by the way, I know this is a lot harder to do with a 1 and a 2-year-old. That's a whole different conversation. But I'm talking about these kids that have brains. They're thinking now. They're starting to process logic. You know, what's going on in your head and in your heart? What is causing you to throw things right now? And then my child will tell me, you know, I'm mad because of this. I didn't get my way. So then I'm putting myself in her shoes and I'm like, okay, you do recognize that the reason why mommy is telling you, this is just an example, reason why mommy is telling you, you know, you can't have the grapes right now is because putting food on your stomach too late at night is going to make it harder for you to wake up in the morning. If you don't wake up in the morning on time, it's going to make it hard for you to get up and do the things that you want to do. Would you like this to interfere with your day tomorrow? Would you like eating these grapes right now to make you sick possibly in the middle of the night, make you have to wake up in the middle of the night and go to the restroom if you're drinking too much water? So putting myself in her shoes and recognizing what might be important to her. And I started to find so many opportunities to actually get through to my child without having to spank her. Now, this is a very difficult thing to play out on a consistent basis, minute by minute. And there's so many factors that impact our success in these areas, like how stressed out we are with life, how well we even know how to manage our own stress and anxiety, because this can cause a lot of stress and anxiety trying to be patient with these kids, how our support system looks like, what our money looks like, what our time looks like. So I'm not coming down on any parent who can't operate like this, but I do want to put it out there that it is possible. And if you can take the opportunity to really explore, because at the end of the day, your child, that is your seed. You love them. You want them to be happy. You want them to be successful. But I'm pretty sure you don't want them to develop negative associations with positive outcomes in their life. Like, you want them to do something constructive, but it's stimulated by a negative, you know, action. That doesn't even add up. And you think about, that's the reason why a lot of us need therapy, because we're doing things that don't even make sense because we're conditioned to do them. And then we're wondering why we're getting the outcomes in life that we don't want. So I'm a huge advocate for self-correction, for sitting back, for being real with ourselves, being real with each other, even if it's hard at first, if it's going to yield the best outcome. And I will say, as a mother who comes from a hard up background, gangbangers, drug dealers, killers, all of that, the typical impoverished lifestyle as a Black American, to now developing into just being a peaceful warrior of goodness, of love, a child of God, and raising children in this dynamic of transition, I can tell you that it is yielding me great success, because not only are my children they're still going to be defiant sometimes, but not only are my children developing, but they're developing the ability to self-correct, to self-soothe, based not on abandonment or fear, but based on their critical thinking. And what I believe that I am raising warriors. I am raising children that are going to be able to think through any obstacle in their life constructively, and they're not going to need stimuli of pain from other people, of abandonment, of abuse. They're not going to need to fear loss in every area. They're going to be able to associate positivity with their choices. So just wanted to drop that as a conversation starter. Y'all can ask me any questions in the comments below. Let's have dialogue. Like I said, if y'all are willing to accept these late night videos in my kitchen, vertical. Did I say that on this take? Because I did a bunch of takes of this. Anyway, then I don't mind making these videos, hopefully consistently. I want to talk about parenthood, motherhood, relationships. If you follow me on my other social media, then you know that I be doing like skits and, little tips and tidbits on relationships and the transition from being a single woman to being domesticated and in partnership with your other half, and how to maintain that. And that is going really good for me right now, by the way. Thank goodness for all the tips that I've received from other people along the way that I'm putting into practice. I would love to share, just the whole journey of being a domesticated wife. You know what I'm saying? Motherhood, marriage, managing the home. So yeah, see you in the next video. Have a good night.